video. And I gotta cut this before 30 seconds. Yeah, and we're back with no music because that's how YouTube likes it. I hope you like the Ray-Bans. Lady got it from me a few years ago. Still rocking them, still strong. Maybe I'll do a review on them. Not really. The review today is, as you probably saw in the title already, 3,000 miles later on the GTI. So, and this is a question that's been asked a lot, especially with the Mark 7s, because you know, with earlier generations of the Mark 7 or earlier years or model years, there were quite a few issues that I hope have been fixed with the Mark 7. But gladly, I am happy to say that I haven't had any issues. I've been running the JB4 stage or map 6 and map 6. I've been bouncing between map 6 map 1. I did map 2 for maybe a day, but that was a little bit too aggressive for me. Well, just because I don't want to blow the clutch like Mr. JR14 if you're watching. I don't want to blow the clutch, and I still wanted a little bit more power, obviously, so I ran map 6. But that's not what it is about. This video is about reliability and how much have I liked or not liked or loved or not loved the Mk7 Gti. If you guys didn't know already, I have a MY17 Volkswagen GTI, and by MY means model year, 2017. And I mean, I've loved it. I've loved it, and it's been piggyback tuned for 2/3 of its life, and it's been very reliable the entire time. With the tune, I do get a little bit more oomph, but even without the tune, it's still a pretty great car. I'm at 3,000 miles right now. Haven't had to do any kind of like oil changes or anything like that. I am planning on doing the oil changes every 5,000 instead of every 10,000, just because I'm neurotic and I don't drive my car. I don't baby my car at all. So I drive aggressively. It's in sport mode 9 out of 10 times. I think the only time that it hasn't been in sport mode are when sometimes I'm just out with my girlfriend and we're just driving around, or when I go pick up my parents, and you know, that's a little bit more weight on the car, so I like the steering to be a little bit easier, blah blah blah. But 9 times out of 10 it's driven spiritedly, and it's just driven in a fun manner. So I'm going to tackle a couple things this video. Number one is going to be, is it a functional vehicle? And yes, it is. I picked up my parents the other day. I was able to fit my grandma, my mom, and my little sister in the back seat, and my grandfather up front, and we drove perfect. No one was cluttered in or anything like that. So in terms of passenger space, it's perfect. In terms of gas mileage, it's great, 28 miles a gallon or so. Combined driving, which is much better than my FRS. And obviously in terms of seating space, much better than the FRS, just because. I should probably lower this right here because that fan, I just realized, I'm sorry about the fan noise, if you guys heard it, because I do have a Vivitar mic on because I got the GoPro adapter. Thank you. It's about time, man. I'm back on my YouTube's game. But either way, as far as practicality and functionality of the vehicle, it's great. Gas mileage is great. Space is great. The trunk has ginormous amounts of room, and I can even fold down the back seats completely flat if I'm going to Home Depot buying anything at all that I need. So that's pretty darn awesome. Number two that I'm going to tackle is performance. For the past 3,000 miles, I've driven this car like this. I'm in sport mode the entire time, and I gotta say, it's a delight. It picks up very fast. The spooling noises from the little, from the intake and the not throttle body spacer, diverter valve spacer, are great to hear. For my girlfriend, they get a little annoying at times, a little swishy swish. But I got an STI in front of me. It's nice looking. But I love this car, and I would never trade it. That car would probably do better in the snow, but whatever, I'm digressing. Yeah, so in terms of power and performance, it's been great. I mean, I think the only like nitpicky con that I have is I do get a little bit understeer if I go a little too fast on certain corners, but I don't think that's necessarily because of the car itself. I think it's more the tires that come with the car and such. So that's not the car's fault. Volkswagen, you're doing great so far. 5 stars for 2 categories. So we've gone over the practicality and functionality of the vehicle. We've gone over performance, and I think in terms of ownership review over the first 3 months, I think it's important to touch on, for us DIY guys, the ease of DIYs and working on cars. And I gotta say, out of all the vehicles that I've had, I think except my Civic, even if you take out the rusty bolts and all that stuff, but this car is so easy to work on. I like to make my cars my own, so my car is never going to look stock. I don't want to go too far from stock, but everything is either a hex screw of some kind or a Torx bit, or it's a 13, a 16, or an 18, pretty much, for everything you're doing. If you have those tools, you do great. Working on this car so far has been ease. Most installs have been very quick. I think my next mod for this car, which I'll talk about in a different video, I'll go a little bit more in depth in a video that I have coming up called What's Next for the GTI, is the downpipe, and that doesn't seem difficult at all. I think it shouldn't take me more than, I would say, an hour on jack stands if I'm the DIY mechanic that I think I am. But yeah, I mean, I think this car overall, it gets 5 out of 5 stars from my review, ownership review for the first 3 months. I've been completely happy with it. I'm happy I got a great deal on it. It's been easy to work on, and the performance, the smiles per miles have been great as well. But thanks again for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. See you in the next one. Peace out.